I would like to fight with Islam, that's for sure. I would like to fight him.
But if they don't give you that fight, if they give you like a number one contender fight, when would you like to fight next?
I wouldn't fight for a number one contender fight. No.
You only want to fight for the title?
Yeah, of course.
Really? Okay.
Of course.
I understand. That makes sense to me. Look, also, it's the most marketable fight. Everybody else has lost to him, right?
I don't care if Islam decides that he doesn't want to fight me. I don't care. I said till you're going to have to fight me. Okay? You say that you are the world champion, you're going to keep dominating the division, all that. I'm here. You can't keep avoiding me all the time. I would put Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett, me against Islam. Once I pass him, I get the title, and you put me against Paddy.
Ilia Topuria is coming for Islam Makhachev again, and this time he wants 2 belts and no excuses. However, Khabib said Ilia Topuria may be a dominant featherweight champion, but Islam Makhachev's team isn't sold on a super fight just yet. They respect Topuria's skills and acknowledge his win over top names like Holloway, but point out that none of those fighters found success at 155. With Islam turning 34 soon, his focus is on legacy fights against proven lightweights, not newcomers from lower divisions. In their view, Topuria still needs to earn his place at lightweight before stepping into the cage with Makhachev.
И он дрался, и он даже дрался с чемпионом 66, летел к нему. Он сам на то, да, в Австралию полетел, у него там на заднем дворе подрался. Команда, мы считаем, что Topuria, он достойный боец. Но он чемпион, защитил пояс, выиграл очень серьезных ребят. Но эти все ребята, которые были в 66, даже тот же самый Холловый, которого он выиграл, он перешел на 70, он ничего не сделал. Из-за этого нам нужно, чтобы Исламу тоже немного осталось. Если так посмотреть, Исламу скоро 34 будет. Но Ислам тоже хочет драться не с Topuria и с Волкановским, или который вышел на замену с Майканом. Ислам хочет драться с большими именами, которые заслуживают, которые давно уже в 70 килограмм. Ты переходишь вес, заслужи, и у нас примерно вот такая позиция.
In response, Ilia tweeted Khabib knows I'm the one to take the belt from Islam. Only reason he doesn't want Islam to fight me. Ilia also tweeted Islam, if I want to, I can finish you. If I want to, I can knock you out. I'll make it look easy. See you soon. He stayed calm, even with many fighters claiming they could beat him in the first or second round. He made it clear that if they want to prove it, they should move up to 70 kilograms, step into the cage, and see who really comes out on top.
You said that you're ready to go up a division. There's a tweet from Ilia Topuria that he can go up the weight and he can beat you with no problem. What do you think about that?
Не знаю, еще столько соперников, и все хотят меня там в первом, во втором раунде финишировать, все говорят об этом. Но я же сказал, сделайте 70 килограмм, заходите в клетку. И посмотрим, кто кого финиширует там.
There's all these opponents, they all say they want to finish me in the first or second round. I already said, if you can make 155, you can get into the cage. Let's talk about it then.
As the internet fight started to go viral, fighters from all over the world began sharing their thoughts. Here are some predictions from MMA pros. Curtis Blades said that if Islam Makhachev takes Ilia Topuria down, it won't be easy, but he'll keep trying. Once he gets it, he'll control and smother Topuria, making it hard for him to escape. In the end, Blades thinks Islam will win by decision.
Islam takes him down. It won't be easy to get the takedown, but he will be constantly looking for takedowns. Once he gets it, he'll probably just squeeze him and smush him, and it'd be a decision victory.
Eddie Cha said that while the fight is still to be determined, he believes Ilia Topuria can get it done, even if people think he's crazy for it. He praised Ilia's evolution, noting that early in his career at Brave, he relied heavily on grappling. Now, his striking has improved rapidly, making him one of the most exciting fighters to watch. Cha's biggest concern is the size difference, and he's unsure how the grappling exchanges will play out, but in the end, he's picking Ilia to win.
Yeah, people probably think I'm crazy, but I think Ilia can get it done.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch right now. His distance game. I mean, if you've seen him when he was like 6 or 7-0 at Brave before the UFC, he would just take guys down and just grapple. You know, I think that was his biggest strength. That's why I'm so impressed with that guy, because for him to be as good in striking in a short amount of time, understanding the game and how he runs his offense, it's phenomenal. So size factor is my biggest concern, and I think the grappling, we'll see what happens, but I like Ilia on that.
Joshua Van said that Islam Makhachev is tough to beat, but he's picking Ilia Topuria because he's a striker like himself. That striking style makes him lean toward Ilia in this matchup.
But Islam is hard to beat, you know what I mean? But I'll go with Ilia just because he's a striker like myself, you know what I mean? So Yeah.
Austin Vanderford acknowledged how tough it is to pick against a Dagestani fighter, especially when Islam Makhachev is considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. However, he believes Ilia Topuria is something special, praising his boxing and wrestling. Vanderford pointed out a stat that Ilia hasn't thrown a single head kick or body kick in his UFC career, highlighting how effective his hands have been. He noted that Ilia is a slow, methodical fighter who processes information well in the cage. In the end, he took a chance and picked Ilia to win.
Man, it's always tough to go against the Dagestani, especially when we're talking about, you know, pound for pound, one or two best fighter in the world. So, but Ilia Topuria is something special. His boxing, his wrestling. I saw a stat last week. It was like, I don't think Ilia's thrown a single head kick or a body kick his entire UFC career or something. You know what I'm talking about, James?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Man, I mean, that's another one of those situations where it just takes one for Ilia. And you know, he's kind of one of those slow, methodical guys. And, you know, he's always processing information in the fight. I'm going to go on a limb and say Ilia in that one.
Smith Elijah said he's picking Islam Makhachev to win, even though he likes Ilia Topuria. He pointed out that Islam is the bigger fighter and that Ilia hasn't faced a high-level wrestler like him. While Bryce Mitchell wrestled Ilia a little, Smith noted that the difference in wrestling pedigree between Mitchell and Makhachev is huge. He believes Ilia hasn't experienced the kind of pressure, strength, and conditioning that Islam brings. He also mentioned that past opponents like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski didn't attempt takedowns, likely out of respect for Ilia's jiu-jitsu, but Islam won't have that hesitation, just like when he fought Charles Oliveira. In the end, if he had to bet safely, he'd put his money on Islam.
I think Islam. I think Islam will be the one to. And I like Ilia, but I just think Islam is still a little bit bigger, and not a lot of people. Well, the last few opponents that Ilia Topuria have fought, none of them have wrestled him. Maybe Bryce Mitchell a little bit, but when we're talking about the wrestling pedigree between Bryce Mitchell and Islam Makhachev, I think it's a totally different game. So I think that's what's going to be the switch up on there. And I think maybe Ilia Topuria, he goes into the fight and he hasn't felt that type of pressure, that type of strength and conditioning on him. Because everybody else, I mean, Max Holloway and Volkanovski, they didn't try to go for a takedown, and I think they were scared of his jiu-jitsu. But Islam Makhachev, he isn't scared of anybody's jiu-jitsu. He even said that when he fought Charles Oliveira. So I definitely got, if I had to be a safe bettor, I would put it on Islam.
Julian Arosa said he had heard nothing but great things about Ilia's grappling and wrestling. If Ilia truly lived up to the hype surrounding his skills, then there was no doubt in his mind he would have to pick him 100%. As long as the talk about his wrestling, grappling, and strength proved to be real, then based on that, he believed Ilia would win.
Man, I hear nothing but great things about Ilia's grappling and his wrestling. So if he lives up to the hype around his grappling and his wrestling, then I got to go with him 100%.
And you think he does? Do you think he can beat Islam?
Well, if the hype is real about his wrestling and his grappling and his strength that I've heard, then if I go with that as truth, then I think he beats.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe for daily entertaining content.